Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive After Dark. I'm Dave Valente. Tonight, I am joined by Dan, the man, Fishman. How you doing, Dan?
I am making myself loopy on Dayquil because I want the caffeine so that I don't fall asleep.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to self-medicate as well here in a minute.
Good stuff, man. You know. Have you seen your earplugs?
But yeah.
Okay.
Sticking out there, yeah. Oh, look, it's here. It's Emily.
I like the idea that you might say, "Hey, Emily, see now the day's better."
Yes.
Aww.
But Dave, I like the fact that you might use that earplug, like somebody could stick their head right next to you and have their ear in there as well.
Sharing.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
It's a little close.
When I was in high school, back in the early 80s, we would have
1880s. I'm sorry.
Wow. I'm leaving. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We had one year, I think I don't know what exactly it was, but we had Walkman dances. So you would bring a Walkman, and back in the day, they would have Walkman with like 2 outlets on it. And
Grandpa, what's a Walkman?
Exactly. People could plug their headphones in and you would just dance. And so it was awesome because you watch the room and it's completely silent. And there are all these people dancing different styles of dance and stuff like that. It was really cool.
That does sound good. I think they still have those.
Not
with Walkman.
Exactly.
Ancient technology. Mm-hmm. So how's everyone's week been?
Only has strawberries.
Mm-mm.
No, there's not strawberries?
No, much worse for me. I haven't eaten dinner yet. It's tater tots. I've had a hell of a day.
Tater tots are all good.
So the red was ketchup?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Although I'm not from the New England area, so I call it ketchup.
What did I say?
Ketchup.
Yeah. That's the same thing.
It's cute.
It's not catsup. Catsup.
Well, at least, yeah.
Catsup. I am having.
My day has been pretty good. Obviously, we had the big shindig.
Yeah.
Very exciting. England lost. That sucked. And I knew the penalty kicks were going to happen while I was giving my speech. I couldn't have been more bullshit. And I'm like, how inappropriate is it going to be? Like, and so one of the important things about yes. But I decided not to do that. I actually turned it off. And I feel like the reason England lost is because I turned off the penalty shots while I was giving my speech.
Well, you actually finished right before the penalty shot.
I finished like right after massive forehead guy, Harry Kane shot.
Yeah.
So I got to see the end. I got to see them lose. And if you miss 3 penalty shots at home, you deserve to lose. So I don't. But I also cleared out a hornet's nest, which is very exciting. Although I did get stung again, which is just ridiculous.
Terrible.
Yeah.
You got stung like 20 times this week.
I did get stung 20 times about a week ago. That sucked. And in fact, it was exactly a week ago. And like the one on my hand was really bad. Like somebody had said, if it really swells up, it might be cellulitis.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever the hell it is. But you get an infection as opposed to just a regular old wasp thing. And it really did swell, but eventually it went away. So it was just a sting. But so the hornets came back to where they were, and it was a crack in the foundation of our house, like this big. But like they'd gone really far back. I swear there are several hundred hornets there, or wasps. I really can't decide what they were. There's a size difference, and that's about it. What they were angry. So
yes,
twice I sprayed it with wasp hornet killer, and it stopped them for a little while, but they kept coming back. So this time I sprayed it, and then like an hour later, I went in there with cement and troweled the whole thing up. And I'm like, get through that, fuckers.
I'm not for killing of animals, but those motherfuckers, they can die.
I might have gone in with some spray foam.
Yeah, no, they're mean.
Yeah,
and like I like some hornets are good because they kill pests and stuff like that. These guys, no, they're useless. All they do is swarm and sting. No, they don't even pollinate that well.
Have you ever considered that maybe you're the pest?
Then maybe I'm the best. That's an interesting point.
Maybe you're the one who can't pollinate well.
As a matter of fact, I'm a hell of a pollinator, and I know that because we have pawpaw trees, and pawpaws.
This did not go where I thought.
The pawpaws, the flowers don't smell great, and so they don't attract the average pollinator. So people who want to have a good pawpaw crop will sometimes leave carrion out there, things that will attract flies that will also work as pollinators. Or in our case, we went through with paintbrushes and pulled the trees down and pollinated all the flowers manually. So now we've got a nice crop of pawpaws going. But they're a terrible commercial fruit. You can, at least in my opinion, you can really only eat them fresh. And they're really hard to process. They've got this weird seed structure inside of them. So they're great for eating and like spitting out the seeds, but can't do much else with them, which is unfortunate because we've got a lot of pawpaws on our land.
Sounds like fun.
So what I'm hearing is you need to invite people over.
Yeah.
Well, so we're planning on doing
Pawpaw
that.
party.
A pawpaw party. Yes.
Mhm.
We're planning on doing that. I have recently made friends who have kids, and I think that they would enjoy like going through
pawpaw party.
Exactly.
Getting
So
sugared up on them.
that's our plan. But I have to buy a grill first. I'm not having a party unless I have a grill. And so I'm scoping that out.
There you go. I recommend the pellet grill.
No.
Love pellet grill. Love my pellet grill.
I mean, if I wanted to get a grill that required no tending, I would get an electric grill. But
Now,
I
you have to tend it still.
yeah, you do have to tend the pellet grill. Can't you
Yeah.
get those automatic feeders though, based on the temperature?
Well, the feeder is fine, but you still got to, like feed or you still got to spray it down. Like if I'm doing a long cook on a, if I stick a butt in there,
Yeah.
I still got to spray it down. Usually till about every 45 minutes or so, I'm in there spraying it down with some apple cider vinegar or apple juice.
I think you heard me talking about that pulled pork that Randy made for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
With the staves from the bourbon barrels. That was fucking unbelievable. But he made it in just, a basic, oil drum grill.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that's where we're going to go. I had a really nice Weber. I don't know. Well, I do know why. It was stupid, but I left it. I gave it away when we moved out of Massachusetts. I didn't want to move it down. We were trying to cut down on stuff, and I didn't know what kind of house we were going to get. Right? I mean, we might have ended up in. We talked about getting a condo in DC.
Yeah.
I mean, as it turns out, we did buy a house again in the country, but so I gave away my Weber, but now that I'm ready for grilling again, I'm ready to love again. So now that I'm ready to love again, I can get a grill.
Grilling is love. I'm gonna be grilling next week. I've got our new affiliate out here, the Libertarian Party Leaders from Panhandle. We're having our convention at my house. So
Yeah, I saw
rubbing
that.
up my butt.
What? It's Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday at 1.
Saturday. How close is it to me? It's near your house. I know where your house is. Not that I'm stalking you, but
Nice.
that noise. I can't come. I got to get ready for Freedom Fest.
No, you're
I
good.
was going to invite myself to your house, but I'm not going to.
But yeah, we're gonna rub up a button Friday night.
All right, now I'm coming.
Yeah, I know. I was like, y'all know how to party.
I do.
You know who else knows how to party is California.
California knows how to party.
California knows how to party.
Word.
California. Now you're going to be banned from YouTube for copyrighted music.
I know.
Thanks, Dan.
Knows how to party. Sorry, I'm feeling punch drunk. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I will be soon. I just had a gummy, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
ready to rock. Ready to rock.
See,
But,
you guys are lucky you live in a place where you wait. Where do you get your edibles, Dave?
I got mine in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. See, because I don't have any place to go. Right. I mean, there's no place near me.
Yeah.
Although Virginia is legal now, but they still can't buy anywhere.
Yeah. You got to have a friend that can grow it.
Or
Either that-
maybe LPHQ should be growing.
Ooh,
Dude,
fundraiser.
I think you proposed that as an LNC member. You know,
I-
some window boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have 4 plants growing there,
Yeah.
that's a really good idea.
Or at least get our license to actually, have a commercial operation. That'd be a fundraiser and a half.
I'm gonna post that on Facebook now.
Excellent. So this week, the Dark Lord has descended upon Dallas. They had the CPAC convention. Caitlyn Jenner got booed, and Paul Bruce a lot.
Yep, Maj was there.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I went to CPAC once when it was at National Harbor. It's like 2015, I guess, or Gary's run. Gary's One America, or Our America Initiative, had a booth there. We did the booth there. The one thing I remember from that is that Grindr had advertised that it was like one of their busiest weekends in the DC area.
So I have a friend who wrote an iPhone app called Scandal, and it was 99 cents on the iPhone. And all it did was alert you whenever a conservative politician who'd made an anti-LGBT statement was then caught in an LGBT relationship.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it was like, while it was out there, like it went off like 9 times, which is not a lot for like over the course of 3 years, but so many people bought it. It was insane. The mechanics, the economics of an iPhone app is just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh, I turned off my.
So Dan gave a stem winding speech today for Noda, our favorite libertarian candidate.
I went 2 minutes too long, as somebody pointed out somewhere, because I had inadvertently closed my notes. Like, I mean, I don't read a speech, but I have notes. And then somehow I'd closed it, and I went back to find them, and I couldn't find them. I'm like, oh my God, did I say everything I wanted to say? And I'm sort of filling with verbal diarrhea at the end while I'm trying to open up my notes again. And then I get them. I'm like, oh, damn, I did say everything I wanted to say. Thanks. Vote Noda. Up to that point, I was very happy with it, though.
No, you did really well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't seen how many folks have voted yet, or they haven't said. Or
When does the voting wrap up?
Tomorrow at 2 Eastern.
Tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Yeah, so Karen Ann Harlos puts out she did the OPA vote, and since she's in Denver, it's set on Mountain Time, so it closes at noon, but where the local person sets it, so it's 2 p.m. Mountain. We were going to try and do 3 p.m., but so we can get to noon on the West Coast. But honestly, we probably have results tonight. I don't think anybody's going to be sitting out there last minute.
Well, I mean, I have done a little lobbying. I hope some people are at least waiting till the morning. But it's an interesting thing. I really do believe that if we hadn't removed Noda, like if Noda persisted,
yeah,
Noda would have won. Nobody's got 50% on their first ballot.
No, not on the first ballot. No.
Right. So then, Noda carries through each time, and you figure everybody else. There's not much overlap between the real factions. Maybe there's a little bit. I don't know. But we'll see. See how it goes.
Yeah, I'm honestly, if I was prognosticating, I was throwing money on it, it would be between um, Steve Whitman and um, Chuck. I think that'll probably be where the top three end up in any order. I don't know who's going to take it, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think that there's an interesting crossover of 3 or 4 old school candidates. I mean, Dasbach and Moulton are very sort of similar candidates, even though obviously one is has a PhD in economics and is a lawyer, but they recommend they constitute the old school. And it should be pointed out that as I did point out in the chat, Steve Dasbach can legitimately claim to have raised over $10 million for the Libertarian Party. And that's not a casual number. But, during the years that he was in, that he was chair or executive director, they raised a tremendous amount of money. And then obviously as campaign director for Joe Jorgensen's campaign, another 2.6 million.
Yeah.
So, that's if I were him, I would have mentioned that more, but it's interesting. And then the Moulton maneuver really is a big deal.
Oh, I know.
That's an impressive feat.
And that's something that can easily be replicated.
Yep.
That states really haven't looked into it that hard is.
Well, it does require a very specific rule that there is a separate registration date for major parties and minor parties.
Mm-hmm.
And so it means libertarians have to not be a major party. But then B, there has to be a separate signature date for independents, stuff like that. But I think there's definitely more than one state that it's in. So they should do it.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, like you could in West Virginia, we just found this out the last election, is that there is a position called surveyor that most of the 55 counties that have this position don't get filled. And it gets, of course, ends up getting filled by the county commission or doesn't even get filled. But it's an elected position. We went to the polls this year and said county surveyor, no candidates filed. Like, you should be able to get into that race and win it.
What does the surveyor do?
Not a damn thing. So the county surveyor, I looked it up. So you can basically, if you're a professional surveyor, and the county needs something surveyed, they have to go through you to get it done. If you're not, you can recommend somebody, but the county can go through a professional and just completely ignore you.
I think it would be funny to get selected to the position and then to issue a lot of surveys in your county. I'm surveying.
Surveyor. My job, damn it.
This survey is to find out how you feel about surveys. What we found is that 90% of the people who, hey, Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
We were just talking about you.
90% of the people who return a survey are in favor of surveys.
That's not skewed at all.
So, ironically, I did. That was something my first job in St. Louis, the year I lived there, was working surveys in a mall. That was awful because it was right around Christmas. So I got subjected to Christmas music 24/7. Just that's where I developed my hate of Christmas music.
Yeah. Did you ever see? There's a couple comedians who did a debate: Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump.
I've seen that one where they're pretty dead on the.
They're really good. It's Frank Caliendo. No, it's not Frank Caliendo, who also does a good Trump. Somebody
Yeah,
else,
he does.
but the guy who's doing Sanders is just unbelievable. We've got some very convincing statistics out there. Statistics that say that we're going to win. Among women who braid their arm hair, we're only at 90%.
Mhm, mhm.
People who do yoga on a handmade mat, 86%.
God.
In my MBA, I majored in international marketing, and we had to learn how to do surveys. That was my jam. Like, I'm really good at that, and I think it's actually very fascinating, and how they're moving into like neural marketing research now. And I mean,
Have you
it's
seen
so
the
creepy.
Have you seen the Big Hack, Emily? It's on
No, I
Netflix.
live under a rock.
You should see the Big Hack. It's the Cambridge Analytica story, and it's astonishing. It's astonishing. First of all, what they know from your digital footprint.
Yeah.
But then how what they know tells them how they can manipulate you,
Mhm.
which is amazing. And really, I mean, the problem, in my opinion, isn't that. Omar, I do a really good Dan Fishman impersonation.
Oh.
The problem isn't, in my opinion, that they know all this stuff about you, because, and this is a really interesting conversation for libertarians to have anyway, but
Mhm.
it's that we're so easily manipulated, or some people are so easily manipulated. If we were taught more critical thinking, I think that we would do a better job, because I think that most smart people, like when they see stuff, you're like, this is such an obvious attempt to manipulate me. How stupid is this? But then there's a lot of people who are like, oh my God, it's definitely true. Hillary Clinton has sex slaves in the basement of a pizza store.
Yes.
Chrome.
Right. And they do that stuff because it works. But there is a fascinating question about how much data should a private company be allowed to accumulate about you. Do you have a right to privacy? One of the fascinating things, to take us off onto a slightly deeper conversation, Roe versus Wade is actually a statement on privacy. It really doesn't have much to do with reproductive rights per se. And the question is, there is no de facto right to privacy anywhere written in the Constitution. The Fourth Amendment gives you a right to unreasonable search and seizure, but it doesn't say anything about reasonable search. And so one of the questions is that, the police clearly can't put up a camera at an intersection and record the license plates of everybody who drives through there. But a private company can, because it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. Because if you're driving through the intersection, you might stop in their store. And so they can look up your car record and send you an ad to come into their store and say, hey, yeah. So
use ways that happens all the time.
Exactly right.
Mhm.
So we know that you don't really have a right to privacy. So then the question becomes, all this stuff that people are talking about, do we really think that that law is the right intervention in these places?
Privacy is a pretty modern concept for humanity. We're talking merely centuries,
Right.
in the making. So I'm not sure most people know what to do with it yet. Americans, because of the way our society is structured, the way our country is structured and has grown, we're separated more than most people on the planet are. So we especially tend to value our privacy more than other nations. But yeah, I don't think people know an alternative for enforcement other than law, enforcement of societal expectations. What are your thoughts on that?
I already said mine. Valente, your thoughts?
I have no thoughts.
Oh,
Well,
No,
So-
I'm just- I yes, it is a very real new concept. We're still trying to figure out things. I do have a problem with companies retaining that data on you. I mean, today I was looking. I actually looked up because we got a little lamp post with a little bar that you can hang a banner on. I was like, I should get a new banner for it. I mean, I've got an American flag banner, but the 4th of July has just passed, which we put up there now. And I looked on there and I was thinking, I was like, college football season's coming up. We can get one that has, the Georgia Bulldogs logo, and hopefully design one that has, with the Kennesaw State logo, which is my college football team. And didn't even look that up. I just put in banner or lamppost banner. That's all I did. I only thought about the split banner. And lo and behold, for Facebook has a damn split banner, house divided, college football team banners suggested for me on.
But don't you feel
Facebook.
like that makes your life better?
No, that's mind fuck. That's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
I don't
It's
want
like the internet is your bitch. Right?
We really know that. I mean, who is the bitch in this?
They're providing you with good information.
Right.
That's valuable. I like it especially because a lot of times I think I want to buy something and then I forget because of ADHD. But I did search for it. And then Facebook will come back and say, oh, yeah, here's an ad for that. I'm like, oh, I do want to buy that.
Well, and truly, let's take a step back. Yes, where it's creepy that they can read our thoughts. I get that. I'm with you on that. But and forgive me, my edibles have kicked in, so I may be repeating myself or not making sense. So, or losing my train of thought. We were talking about taking a step back and realizing, so they're marketing to you, but are they really affecting your life in any way other than positive? If you want the product, then easy peasy, there it is. If you don't want the product, then you keep scrolling and they try something else to get your money, but you're not affected.
I completely agree.
No, it's just, it does become a pain in the ass when you see the ad for the 8th time in the last half hour. Every time you're scrolling through Facebook and it just pops up and you're like, I said no, or I just bought something. Good God, that's the worst. You and then you see an ad for the same product over and over and over and over.
And then
again.
just trick your phone and say, I want to buy this thing instead, and then you'll get new ads.
The funny thing is, though, if you run with a VPN, then you get ads for those things from another country, and that's just comical. I do enjoy doing that.
Oh, I got an ad for Ludafisk. Nice. Has anybody ever had Ludafisk?
Had what? Ludafisk?
Yeah.
No. Good God.
Yeah. It's part of my heritage. We'll talk a little bit about the Euro final in a second, because I have an interesting dichotomy with that. But part of my heritage, and everyone says that I need to eat Ludafisk, and there is no way in hell I'm putting that in my mouth.
Have you read the Garrison Keillor books?
Yeah.
There's a great thing where they talk about Ludafisk, and I don't remember the exact story, but I remember this passage of it where the guy's wife has made him Ludafisk to take to a potluck, and he's like, I can't bring this. He's like, it's first of all, even in Minnesota, people don't like it, but to bring it to a potluck, it's just offensive because it stinks and everybody else has to smell it the whole time. She's like, I did all this work on it, and how are you not going to take it? It's blah, blah, blah. And so they're arguing, and so he storms off down the street, and she comes out to the street, and she yells down the street, "You are a lousy lover!" And all the neighbors turn around and look, and Keillor's comment says, and all the water sprinklers replied, It's true. It's true. It's true. One of my favorite things. People have not
I
read
met him.
Garrison Keillor's The Book of Guys. It's fantastic.
Is that Guys or Guise?
Guys. And there's all sorts of good things in it. There's the story of David Pepper, who is the only person besides Earl Grey to have a drink named after him. And there's another one. The whole monologue's got this great piece in it that says, men and monogamy is like a bear riding a bicycle. You can train a bear to ride a bicycle, but he'd rather be off in the woods doing what bears do in the woods.
It's only natural.
Yeah.
Exactly. I always thought on that.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Seems like it. Although, I saw he got caught up in the whole Me Too thing too.
Yeah.
Which is weird. A lot of people are like, no, not Garrison Keillor. But you know what it is? It's there's a generational thing there, right?
Remember Charles Kuralt, just very plain spoken. You saw him every Sunday morning. He did that show for forever, and after he died, it's revealed that he had a second family somewhere.
Oh,
wait, what? He had a second family? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a second family.
Who is this?
Charles Kuralt. He used to be on CBS
Saturday morning,
Sunday morning show on CBS.
Mm.
Had a very very dulcet tones, and very very chill show to watch on a Sunday morning, and would never have expected any kind of wildness in it. But he had a second family. He had one in North Carolina and one in Iowa or something. Just really random states.
How do these people do it? Listen, I have been in polyamory situations. How the fuck do you have time
I agree.
to live your own life?
Yeah. Well, they didn't know each other either. And that's the thing. How do you keep that? How do you balance that to keep that away from everybody? And he did it. He successfully did it.
Well, let's not say successful, but he got away with it.
Yeah, well, he got away with it. He died.
Yeah, good point. His families may be fucked up. So,
right. So I just read everything. Well, I didn't read everything, but I just read the whole thing. And, that there was a big will fight afterwards and stuff like that.
It's terrible.
That's how it came to light. It was the will. Yeah.
Right. Because, obviously there was more than enough money because they said that he had given that family $500,000. All right, Tyler, we're going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
So without you knowing what the first big question is, we want to know what your answer is.
I'm just saying boneless wings are chicken nuggets that are messy.
Fuck yeah.
I agree.
Completely right. Completely right.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight.
Actually, I want to go back to something that you said, Dan. It's a generational thing. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with it. And people who know me know, listen, I love men. I'm all about men. I think you're wonderful in so many ways. But I just, on the flip side of that coin, I don't think y'all know your own strength, and you can be fucking terrifying too. But anyway,
agreed.
Rawr.
What?
Rawr.
Oh, that's so cute. As it to being generational, I just heard a new concept, or at least new to me, that women's lib is so young that it's changed so drastically that we're only a few generations removed from when women couldn't be without a man. And so we didn't really have a choice as to who we were with. And men don't know how to deal with that because now we're choosing.
I recommend very strongly everybody who has Hulu watch the first season of the Mary Tyler Moore Show because it's unbelievable. Because this is first of all, I'm old enough that I watched the original Dick Van Dyke Show where Mary Tyler Moore is Dick Van Dyke's wife, and That's hilarious. On the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which I think comes out in 72, the premise of the first season is Mary decides to not get married, and she goes to she moves to Minneapolis to like have her own life. And the whole first season is people coming back and saying, "Hey, Mary, when are you going to give up this idea of having your own life and come back and marry the guy that you were supposed to marry?" Mary. But it's crazy. But there's this generational thing. And, it's interesting because I remember Melania Trump talking about this a little bit, where, she excused the president's grab him by the pussy comment and saying, "Oh, that's just locker room talk." And, I was an athlete growing up. We didn't talk about shit like that in the locker. We just didn't. Guys will occasionally talk about girls and stuff like that. But I think that there's obviously there's a lot of guys who are dicks as well. Maybe that's, par for the course. But but the generation before mine, all the time, they would say all sorts of inappropriate shit. And I remember working with an older guy, and a woman who was my colleague came in to his office where I was sitting. We were having a conversation and gave us some work details, things like that. And then she left, and he said to me, he's like, "How'd you like to come home to that every day?" I'm like, dude, we're working at a liberal think tank. Possibly appropriate comment, but he's thought, "Oh, you're a guy," and I don't know. It's interesting to this sort of, I guess we're in fourth wave feminism now, and you look at the earlier stuff and the things that people had to put up with, and it's astonishing.
I know women who are no older than my mother. Think about it, they're in their 60s, and especially Black women. I've met more than one where they couldn't rent an apartment unless they had a husband.
Wow.
Like, how are they supposed to live with their children? So they didn't. They had to live with their parents or find some other way.
Right. And actually, I remember as a child, my uncle ran the ACLU in Arkansas and then in Texas. And at one point in time, they took a case where a woman who was an attorney, when she introduced herself as so-and-so for the defense, Your Honor. And he's like, "Well, what's your real name?" And she's like, "Well, I'm really Jane Smith." He's, No, what's your real name? And she knew what he wanted, and she didn't want to get a prejudice against her client. She said, "I am Mrs. Robert Smith for the defense." And so then the ACLU took that case because obviously that's a bunch of bullshit. But that sort of thing, that happened all the time. In fact, it pisses me off. It happened in the LNC meeting because fucking Dr. Ebke should be referred to as Dr. Ebke, not Miss Ebke.
Yeah.
Well, how does she feel about it?
She's not going to fight about it.
How does she feel about it, though?
I bet you if we asked, she would say that she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Then we shouldn't. That's the whole thing, though.
You're right.
If she doesn't feel that she's being disrespected, why should we fight a cause that isn't there?
I bet you if you asked if she thought she was being disrespected, she'd say yes.
Okay, well, then that's a different matter.
Right.
But it's I agree with Emily on that note. It's like sometimes you got to just pick and choose where you want to expend that energy.
Yeah.
And somebody being vindictive and not using your appropriate title that you've worked years of your life to attain. That's one thing that personally I would invest energy in that. But everybody knows me. I'm dramatic. It comes with the gay thing. So. But no, I agree.
When did this come out?
Yeah, I know. So this is my coming out. Welcome.
This is
fashionably late. Pride Month was a couple weeks ago at this point, but
it's always Pride.
Everything.
It's always Pride here.
Always Pride. Always. Especially in this house, there's so many rainbow flags. In here.
Is there like, so for Texas we do hook 'em horns. Is there an LGBT hand signal? Anything?
Not one that's appropriate for general viewership.
I was thinking of all the awful things I could do.
Good answer.
I've heard of bandana code.
The bandana code. Oh, yeah, the hanky code. That's what it was called. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Grindr before smartphones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
This was like how you wore your bandana.
No,
indicating-
it's
it was
the
the
color.
color.
Oh,
Yeah, it
Like
was the
different
color of the bandana hanging out of your pocket, like those like little Western style ones, or like a little hanky that you would hang out of your pocket at these gay bars, or alternative lifestyle adult beverage consumption stations. You would go to these things, and based on what your kink, your fetish, what you were looking for, if you wanted a relationship, if you were just playing the field, things like that. It's actually a really interesting thing. Like there was a whole like code and
I would
pattern
think
of behavior.
I would think that if you have more than like 5 things on there, you would have to have like a chart, because otherwise you're like, well,
This is what Roner could have been.
Absolutely.
Like the hanky, like if you're wearing a purple hanky, point of personal privilege. What do you want? Like,
Mike, this color of panky means that I am actually asking for your point of personal privilege. All right, that was too easy.
I heard a term the other day while we're on that topic, dildo-tory.
Yes.
Well,
But that is by some weird bit of serendipity applicable to this whole conversation.
Yep.
if there's
got the
ever a
purple
conversation
hanky?
with me involved, I'm going to bring up sex. I'm going to find a way.
All right. Well, we're waiting. We can do more.
Well, I just did.
Oh, that's true. See, now it's funny because I would
You're
have
being dildo-tory. Calm down.
I would have guessed that the only things that you would really be sure of in bandana code, and this is just my ignorance of the culture, is that
We'll provide
top, bottom, single, and hey, thanks, Chuck. And friggin' Chuck Moulton should also be addressed as Dr. Moulton. Although it's interesting because I believe that as a lawyer, he could also be addressed as Esquire.
Esquire.
Doctor.
So, I mean, if we put them all together, Dr. Chuck Moulton Esquire, that sounds
pretty
like
rad.
a private detective show.
It does.
Dr. Chuck Moulton Esquire.
Now the
little
marketing
thing called-
people who have been listening to us are going to create such a show. And in 6 months' time, we're going to just have our minds blown.
Now the AI masters who are listening to everything we say are going to create an animated series themselves that will show up in our Facebook feed.
Yes.
Dr. Chuck Moulton Esquire and his dilatory handkerchief.
Oh, man. Wow.
I, for one, welcome our new computer overlords.
We have to put that one up again. Yeah, well, all right.
Bad takes on what? I have lots of bad takes. Pretty much all my takes are bad.
I'm just a bad pick machine right here.
So I want to point out the fact that I was able to remember that SMG stands for Sassmaster General, means that I should be drinking more. Okay, so that's not a handkerchief, though. That's a washcloth.
Listen, this is my
Oh,
pot
I thought
holder
you were
because I'm
pulling out a
poor.
dildo.
I'm going to guess that the washcloth means I'm dirty.
Hey, yeah.
What is it, that movie with Zach Galifianakis? It's a mess. I'm gonna clean it up.
I don't know.
Oh, that was the one where he's the candidate against Will Ferrell.
Oh, it's called The Campaign, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like running against Will Ferrell in like some random district in North Carolina. And I love like the little scene where they're shaking each other's hand and they're trash talking each other. He's like, "You've never done this before, have you, boy? I'm gonna rip your head off and shit down your throat." Like,
I just say I've always actually enjoyed Will Ferrell's humor, and I know I'm trying not to condemn a man for being on a list, but he was on Epstein's list of visitors, and I just can't find him as funny anymore, and it's a shame. But yeah,
Was he a visitor or like one on his airplane?
I think that there's a choice to be made in terms of. Hang on, just one sec.
I think he was on the airplane actually.
I mean, he was a guy that would fly people. I don't know that. I would probably put more credence into it if he was actually on the island,
Mm-hmm.
or if he visited him in New Mexico because he had a big ranch in New Mexico.
Oh,
But if he was on the plane, maybe there was somebody on there. I don't know. It was just,
yeah.
it is skeezy. I'm not condoning being on Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, no, and it's very possible he didn't know anything, of course, which is why I'm trying to not feel this way, but it's not successful.
I think differentiating too between, the artist and the art is an important thing. No matter what happens, there's stuff that Bill Cosby said that was incredibly funny and it just, made me laugh my ass off. E.E. Cummings, right? I mean, he's written some amazing poems, but he also was, incredibly anti-Semitic.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of the guys at the turn of the century had this sort of fashionable, intellectual anti-Semitism. T.S. Eliot's another one, and I love T.S. Eliot. Proof Rock is one of my favorite poems. And even Cats the musical, I'll give some snaps to. But T.S. Eliot made some comments about how, the Jews were running all the media. One of those common things that just the way it is.
Still popping up today.
Well, and I mean, if I'm going to give something away, we actually do.
Well, I mean, we have a Jew on our media.
Exactly. Right. There was no show before. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people went to Epstein's thing, and I think, some people do have curiosity about what that thing is, and a lot of times people might think to themselves, "Oh, I'm going to go see what the truth is." And so, I don't know everybody who went there. I'd like to think that Will Ferrell's a pretty nice guy. Seth Rogen was good friends with James Franco. Turns out Franco was pretty creepy, but I like Seth Rogen. So that's my 2 cents.
So how about England?
Boo.
So here's the thing. So it's funny.
50% of the time now, a country that's played a finals on their home turf has lost.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I rooted for Italy. I have Italian last name, but I'm also half English as well. Like, well, not half English, but most of my DNA either comes from Italy or England. But I find far more kinship with Italy than I do England at all.
It's probably because of the cuisine.
Yeah, the better cuisine, definitely.
Right.
I think the only type of blood I have that's from like the Angleterre region is Welsh. So there's part of me that's still glad that England lost. So
fair enough. Wales was in the round of 16.
Yeah, they were. But my family is actually related to the Windsors.
My 19th great grandfather was the last reigning Prince of Wales, or independently reigning, just so you know.
Wow.
Royalty.
It's like Princess Emily.
Her Royal Highness Emily, thanks.
That was one of my favorite scenes in The Crown, where Charles goes to Carnarvon and gives that speech where in Welsh, and spends the time to study it and learn it and stuff like that. And his parents don't want him to do that because they don't want him to encourage Welsh sovereignty, but it's an important thing to do. And he is the Prince of Wales. So
that was a good episode for sure.
I've never watched The Crown.
I watched a few episodes, but I can't get over fucking Matt Smith's face. He's so hideous to me. I'm sorry. That was really mean.
Wow.
Jesus. All right. So Emma, how do you really feel?
who's Matt Smith?
He ruined Doctor Who during his seasons, and he's just
Oh.
ugly.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's fair. That's fair. I had to remember which one that was. Not very familiar with British actors, so.
And you'd want to forget that face.
Yeah, I had. Thank you so much.
There goes all that therapy. All right. What else is going on this week? Emily found a dog.
I did find a dog, and I actually know the owner, and she was near her house. She was just the beautiful dog, obviously cared for. She had her toenails were painted red and blue. She had a little American flag bandana. Sweet dog, but she was like out in the middle of the road. So I happened to be walking my dog, and he can walk without the leash, no problem. He always just follows me everywhere. But so I just used the leash I carry. And I took her home, even though I knocked on my friend's door saying, like, is this your dog? I say my friend. We're not friends, but I know her. No one answered, so that's their fault. I almost kept their dog. But no, I found her.
Squatters' rights.
Yeah.
So, what does everyone think about Richard Branson skimming the outer reaches of the atmosphere?
I don't think about Richard Branson.
About time.
Yeah, I mean, somebody posted on Facebook today that if multi-billionaire dick waving contest is what gets us to commercial space travel, or spacefaring, as I think they put it. I'm okay with that. Although I don't want to see Frontier space lines, because Frontier
Mhm.
That I'm flying Frontier to.
flying Frontier to crash.
I saw a meme that I don't know if I agree with. I'm just throwing it out there for conversation. If there's like a billionaire dick waving contest, wouldn't it be nice if they were, trying to see who could feed the more hungry first, rather than fleeing the planet. Which, it's an interesting thought. People can do whatever they want with their money. But why not? Why not try to feed some people?
Yeah, I was seeing somebody actually addressed that, and it was an astronaut who had talked about, this is a use of their money that they can do that, but you're not going to flee the planet. You're not going to get away from all the problems we have on this planet, because space is a motherfucker. Like, you don't just go out to space and zip around and do whatever you want to. There's just, how many people that they have to use to keep the people on the International Space Station alive, just to keep that hunk of junk up in the air. It'll be long past our lives before we have some kind of workable situation where you could live on a ship for, an extended period of time, even beyond a year, without expending so many resources just to, just support staff to keep that thing afloat.
Well, if Futurama is correct, our children's generation will be on Mars.
I think that's probably true. We're pretty close there now. I mean, it's a long trip, but it would be cool. What I'm more interested in what Tyler's talking about, though, of sustainable life in outer space with plants that you would grow, dirt and soil and stuff like that. a terrarium in space with a couple of humans. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how. We really haven't even tried to kind of colonize the moon, which would probably be your first step, where you want to try and build something a little more permanent than.
Well, I think a space station would be the place to start.
Yeah.
Just because it's not as far, it's close to Earth, all that sort of stuff. But there is space elevator should be first. That's the magic thing. And we could build that now. And it would make everything else a lot easier.
Well, I mean, at least just getting up supplies and things up.
Right. Honestly, that's what I wish one of these guys had done instead of trying to go into space. Build the space elevator, and then essentially, for people who aren't familiar, space elevators is essentially just a giant elevator that's about 25 miles high, and you transport stuff up to the stop, and then if you need to make it bigger or not, you assemble it. But because the Earth at the equator spins at 1,000 miles an hour, 25 miles up, that thing is spinning super fast, and you can launch spaceships from there. You don't have to have them have the fuel to escape Earth's gravity or anything like that, because they just go up the elevator.
Oh, I didn't realize that's where they were going with it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. One that just, there's no immediate profit in it. And so the one argument people will make against the free market is that the free market has a hard time investing towards the distant future, because you want to do things now, but it's still better than the alternative of the not free market.
This is true. Tyler identified the weirdest story of the week. The president of Haiti was assassinated by a group that claimed to be DEA agents. Turned out to be a bunch of Colombians, a couple of American, Haitian-born Americans or Americans.
As of an hour ago, it was implicated that a doctor down in South Florida is the one that put the hit squad together.
Ooh.
In an effort to install himself as the president of the little tiny country. And the way they were, according to the two Americans that were, or Haitian Americans that were arrested during all of this, they said that the intent was never to kill President Moi. It was to serve him with an arrest warrant, I believe, from a couple years ago, and then hold him in detention while Sanan ascended to his place. Even if this were the case, I'm almost positive Haiti has a constitution that has a structure for succession, but I could be wrong.
The interesting thing about that is that Moi was elected like in 2016, but he didn't take office until almost a year and a half later, like at the end of 2017. And so his original re-election date has already passed. But he was saying, since he wasn't put into power until 2017, that his term runs all the way through 21, almost to the end of 21. And that might have been part of the reason why they wanted him out, but it's just a really weird story. And if it's true that some jackwad in Florida wanted to be the president of Haiti, I could pick probably a few dozen countries that I think I would rather want to be president of than Haiti.
Start small.
Even Equatorial Guinea. I mean,
what about Djibouti?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just for the name, Djibouti. And DJ. There's too few DJ combinations. But do you remember the Saturday Night Live episode "Bad Idea Jeans"?
No.
So the essence of it was, there used to be these Docker commercials where guys would sit around in jeans and talk about things like that. The bad idea jeans, people talking around. First guy says, the affair's been over for 3 years, but I think I'm going to tell my wife about it.
Yeah.
And then the next one says, I rarely have unprotected sex, but I thought to myself, when's the next time I'm going to get back to Haiti?
Damn.
Bad idea, Jeans. Fun little sketch. Guys, I'm going to step away from the camera for 5 minutes, but I'll be right back, okay?
All right. Cool. But that's
The
just
more I read on this doctor, by the way, it's apparent they can't find a medical license. So the dude was also impersonating a doctor.
Okay.
Speaking of
Trying to
Florida,
impersonate a president. He's moving up in the faux credentialed world.
he's a legend in his own mind. But speaking of Florida doctors, though, I mean, there was that guy that was like a 18-year-old kid that opened this is like the skeeziest story ever, but he was like an 18-year-old kid, not licensed at all, never gone to medical school. He wasn't like Doogie Howser or anything. And he opened a gynecological practice in Florida. And he had a lot of women swearing by him. I don't know what his bedside manner was, but they certainly loved him. And they protested when he got arrested, and they bailed him out. And as soon as he got bailed out, he was back practicing again.
Risk versus reward.
Like, damn.
That's terrible.
Like a 19-year-old kid. Throwing it down like that,
None of my gynos have ever been men. It's just not something I want to do.
David, did you do this?
I did not do this, and I did not go to Haiti either.
Like, hold on, Google's not open on my computer at all.
Like, this is like the old dirty old man joke. But
Wait, ENTE, right?
Why do women prefer their gynecologists to be old men?
Why?
Oh, there we go.
Ew, gross.
Sorry.
Jesus fucking Christ. Let me tell you just how little pleasure comes from that visit. It's painful and awkward and terrible.
I've seen the contraption. I'm like, that doesn't look fun at all.
It's not fun. I mean, okay, for me, I'm sure it's fun for some women. But that shit fucking hurts. And then you're just like laying there with it in ya for like 15 minutes. You're like, God damn it, get this thing out of me.
Are you looking for gold?
Right? Well, then they're scraping the inside with like implements. You're, God damn it. This
We're
is
still
not
talking
pleasant.
about gyno visits. I'm going to have to disagree with Emily for a couple of points.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Oh, God. I actually... Interesting thing that I got in the mail this week. DuckDuckGo confirms. Oh,
What is it?
yeah. All right. DuckDuckGo has confirmed Mr. Valente is the gyno. But no, I got this cool package from Matt Hicks out of South Carolina. His wife and I are literature enthusiasts of various genres and everything like that. So she has in the past given me books and stuff to read, like about obscure knowledge that doesn't typically get covered, such as the impact of military service on new freemen after the post Civil War Reconstruction era, and their development in this new nation and this new landscape that they're in. That was one of the cool books. So ever since then, anytime she recommends a book or something, or she wants to give me a book, I'm like, hell yes, this is an interesting subject. So we went from obscure historical information to gay Amish romances.
Shall I churn thy butter?
Right, exactly. I had a really bad joke about facials, even though they don't do faceless things. But anyway, I also got, though, bumper stickers.
Is not the only thing getting a raisin.
Bumper stickers from these fantastic individuals.
Ooh.
I can't find anything for the third one here. But I really thoroughly enjoy the NASA one. I'm going to give this
Yes.
up.
Nice.
But yes, But anyway, so this book came in tandem with another one about two brothers in China, which it's called Brothers, and one of the brothers is apparently like I don't know. That pretty much just all boiled down to I got gay Amish romance novels sent to me, and I'm happy. I'm ready to read these. Be ready for my book review next Sunday.
Heck yeah.
Are they steamy, or are they more sort of just Emily Bronte type?
We're gonna have to find out, but I am ready for a lot of German terms I had no idea existed. So, excuse me, Pennsylvania Dutch terms.
Yes.
But yeah, no, let's see. It's like in a world where every detail of life down to the width of hat brim is dictated by God and the all-powerful rules of the community, two men dare to imagine a different way. Shall I raise thine barn? Kommen Sie hier,
You already did.
meine Bruder.
It's time for a milking.
Verily, thine beard has me bewitched.
Damn.
No,
So-
actually, me and Arizona, we were talking about the Amish earlier. It's like, there's rumstringers they go on. Like, they legitimately, they make people like The Weeknd and Flavor Flav look like they're tame little church ladies. Like,
Isn't there a reality series like
It was, yeah.
Amish
Yeah.
Mom Dad or something like that?
yeah.
Something like that.
My favorite one that was fake as hell was the Amish Mafia.
Oh, Lord. Actually, the worst reality show was the one where they rescue people from those polygamous cults. It's called Escaping Polygamy, out of Utah. It is. I caught a few episodes on it, and it's just the worst. They manufacture drama like, they have to, we have to get this person from this family that is doing that uncle has like 18 wives or whatever, and they're like, we have to be super secretive about getting them out of here, and every time they're like sneaking around the house, they got them filmed and sneaking around the house and all that stuff. They finally get the person, and every time the person that they try and get is not ready to go, they're like, oh, I need to pack up all my shit. Like, you guys have been working on this for 2 weeks. You didn't kind of get some stuff together, get some stuff ready, not quite packed, but at least staged to get out the door. No, not a damn thing. And then invariably they always get busted by the Mormon family that is, that believes in the polygamy, and they're like, we're taking her. And they're like, okay, just try not to wake the kids. Like they're like, okay, you don't want to be here, that's fine.
It's like that episode of Rick and Morty. I'm leaving. Okay, that was always allowed.
Yes. Oh, Jerry. I'm back to the 18 wives.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that. That guy that got arrested a few years ago, and there's always accusations within the Mormon polygamy communities of child marriage and things like that. And some of it is kind of skeezy. Like I definitely wouldn't be rushing off to join a Mormon polygamy cult, but one of the families, Warren Jeffs. And the Warren Jeffs was the guy that was arrested. There are some legit claims of him, having sex with underage girls and all that stuff. Taking wives as young as like 11. That kind of crap. And he's currently serving time, but like the rest of his family is just doing their thing out in Utah. But yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of manufactured drama, and you watch the episode, and you're like, they don't even really care that you're taking them away. Why are you guys freaking out? But
It's also the plot of Far Cry 5. For
Far
the people,
Cry.
Far Cry 5.
Like the video game.
You have to, yeah, it's a video game. It's awesome, and you have to rescue people from.
Oh
cult.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool if you get to do it with like AK-47s and explosives. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
you
And
wake
like,
the kids. That's the intent.
Yeah, Far Cry 6 is coming out in October, I believe.
is it? I don't know what it's going to be about. I need to buy a new computer. Maybe that'll be the impetus.
Now you're going to get ads for new computers.
There we go.
Yeah, it's true.
New from Alienware.
Alienware
You
is
missed
awesome.
that part of our conversation, Tyler, with how Facebook is reading our minds,
Yeah,
Right.
advertising to us.
Yeah, I apologize. We were doing a board.
You should
meeting.
be sorry.
I know we were doing a board meeting with the Radical Caucus. We're doing okay over there.
Nice.
But yeah, our membership meeting is going to be October 12th, I believe, was the date we set. But I will have to get back and clarify that. Susan knows, Dave. So
Is it a physical meeting?
I mean, maybe afterwards with a non-member, but no, it's going to be a Zoom meeting just because we are spread out all over the country, and it's for the voting members and the such as our state coordinators and everything. So we're going to be deciding a lot of things about going into 22, and yeah, it's gonna be great. Like we're gonna see some resurgence and a lot more presence and building coalitions to bring about freedom in our lifetime. So
there you go.
That's pretty
and even
awesome.
if I don't have the even if we fall short, the rest of us are tenacious and stubborn enough, we're still going to be doing it. So
Yeah.
But there's my little pitch. Join the Radical Caucus. We need money. I'm just kidding.
Well, you're not really kidding.
That was like one of my favorite lines in Animal House. Like they were reviewing the prospective pledges, and they're like, "This guy," and it was like, "Yeah, let him in. We need the dues."
No, it's good. We actually just elected Richard Fast, our Alabama coordinator, and Ryan Jenkins. I'd have to look into our history, but I believe the youngest state coordinator for the Radical Caucus at 13 years old.
Yeah,
For the
Yeah,
state of Tennessee.
really cool kid.
Hey.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's awesome. Richard Fast, I've worked with him on a couple different things. He does. He's been setting up a few like college affiliates and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
he does a lot of campus outreach, and he's incredibly smart. I think he's actually getting ready to start going for his doctorate, so he will be Dr. Richard Fast
nice.
in the future. So, actually, I'm gonna like plug Miss Janice McKenzie, his mother, who I only met via Facebook, but because like Richard works so closely with me on Radical Caucus stuff, and now is working closely with some outright libertarians things, she has been nothing short of a motivator. Every day I wake up, she posts something to my wall that's like super sweet, and like I could be having like the shittiest day and not check my phone, but when I get off work and look, like she's posted something, I'm just like, God, she is a beautiful soul. Like, so Janice, if you're watching, I love you so much. Thank you, and never change.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's good to have people that do that for you. The one person that does that for me, she pops in every once in a while and gives me a nice positive message. Is Ashley Shade. She will send me like a random Facebook message like, "You're special and thank you for being you." And I'm like, damn, like, thank you. That's awesome. Makes you feel good. I mean, being on the LNC, you tend to get abused more than anything. And the people that have reached out to me over the last month and a few days, I guess now, that have been awesome. I mean, I've had a lot of people, not only in my region but throughout the country, like, hey man, just wanted to check in on you, see how you're doing. Keep your head up. This is, this will pass. So, it's been really nice. I mean, the abuse sucks, but I knew what I was signing up for. So.
I will. If it starts detracting from my motivational messages, it's going to stop. But I'll see if Janice will help get you a boost every day. Like,
no, it's but it's good to have those people in your life that just drop a random thing or daily thing. It doesn't really matter but that are thinking about you and because I think that's a lot of things that we kind of miss in the fact that we're in this virtual space now, that some of those little nice habits that we used to do, those people that still do them are much appreciated.
well, like, what was it? I think, what was it? Like Wednesday. That's when it was. Wednesday, she messaged me. She goes, "Oh, I just saw you in Arizona. And you just moved there. Like, have you had a chance to go visit the Grand Canyon? If you haven't, it's beautiful and it'll do wonders for your soul." Like, it's like, she's just, I don't know. It's like, I have a new mom. Like, Tom Arnold's my dad, and now I think Janice is going to be my Liberty mom. Like,
there you go.
I love that.
So,
Tom Arnold's a good Liberty dad. When he had his little falling out with Tennessee earlier this year, I was like, will you adopt us in West Virginia?
Yeah.
We'll take you, please.
He's a really good man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we are like close to 11, huh?
Yeah.
We ready?
We've reached the point
I'll
where
be like, I'm done with you people. Get out. Like,
I definitely am tired and ready for bed. I was going to make it till 11 and then I was going to go, but I guess
It is
libertarians, we can end the show whenever we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started it early. But yeah, it's been a long day again.
Yep.
But I think this is we're getting inching closer to the end of the long days for the LNC. So
Knock on wood.
yeah,
we'll see.
knock on crack rock.
I mean, I can't imagine. Anyway, it's all right. Let's go.
Yeah.
don't you put that evil on us, Miss Hershey.
Yeah. Don't say that because
All right.
this is where we find out that everybody wrote in Ron Paul, and he's the
oh no. I could take Ron Paul. James Ogle.
Yep.
James Ogle's chair.
All right.
Hide my face. All right.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Political Deep Dive, and we will see you all next week. Main show on LPTV, we'll have Anthony Welty talking about his new campaign training tour that he's doing, and then we will come back for the After Dark show at 9:30 Eastern. So we'll see everyone next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.